there, I'm Cath. Welcome to my channel Made by Cath Craft. Thank you very much for joining me today. So in today's vlog, I'm going to be talking about 9 new patterns I made in 2020. And this is all under an Instagram hashtag, #Make92020. And the hashtag set up each year is always Make9 for that year. And it's basically an opportunity for sewists and other makers to have a think about 9 projects they'd like to work on in the year. And then you post on your grid on Instagram your 9 plans. It's kind of like a New Year's sewing resolution, and share your plans, and then towards the end of the year, when you've completed your projects, you post up what you've made. And it's a lovely way to kind of track your year and sort of shape it a little bit with maybe a couple more challenging makes or something a bit different. And it's lovely to see other people's plans too, because it's great inspiration. So I sat down at the beginning of this year and thought about what I wanted to sew, and I'm going to be telling you all about what I chose and then showing you the makes. Before I get started on talking about my 9 new patterns I made this year, I thought I'd mention what I'm wearing. And this is the Sagebrush top by Friday Pattern Company in a Cloud 9 rayon, which I got from Sister Mintaka. It's a lovely print on it, these little sort of flowers. I think it's really lovely, and it's got the little ruffle of the sagebrush top and the kind of slightly poofy sleeves, although I took a bit of volume out, and it's got a tie at the back. And it's really comfy and relaxed, and I'm just wearing it with a pair of jeans. It's not too cold today, so I might put a cardigan on later, but I'm fine like this for now. But yeah, let's get started on my 9 patterns I sewed this year. So on Instagram, you publish a picture on the grid showing your plans, and I'll pop up my picture now. This is what I popped on the grids at the beginning of the year with the 9 patterns I plan to make. So that's a little snapshot of them, but what I'll do now is I'll talk you through them individually in a bit more detail. So the first pattern I want to talk about is a kind of classic indie pattern that's been around for a while, and it's this one here. It's the Coco top and dress by Tilly and the Buttons. And when I started sewing, I did sew quite a lot of Tilly and the Buttons patterns, and I sewed a few Freya dresses and Agnes dresses. So I didn't think I really needed this pattern, another kind of jersey dress pattern. But I've seen so many lovely versions, and it's such a classic that I thought I really wanted to pop it on my Make 9 and give it a go. So I decided to do that this year. So the Coco dress is a kind of 60s style dress. It's designed for confident beginners. And I'll show you the line drawings. So you can kind of make a top with just kind of like a slightly scooped slash neck or a funnel neck. And then you can make a dress, again with a funnel and little cuffs, or just with little pockets with a plain neck. And it's got kind of like a gentle A-line shape to it. And because of the shape, to hold that shape, they recommend medium weight fabrics with little stretch, like Ponte or double knits. So I'm not a big fan of Ponte, I must admit. I find it a little bit, artificial fibres kind of bother me a little bit. So I wanted to make it in a cotton jersey, so I thought I'd give it a go. And I'll show you my version. So here's my Coco. I made it in cotton jersey with this lovely stripy with little hearts on it, and it came from Material Girl Laura, who sadly closed down now. But I was really pleased to get some of this jersey because I thought it was really cute and I thought it'd be perfect for a Coco. And I'll pop up a picture of me wearing it. Now I made this in a size 2, which is my standard size for Tilly and the Buttons patterns, but it came up quite large. So I had to do quite a lot of adjusting to the sleeves and the side seams to make it fit. But as you'll see in the picture, I think I got a fairly good fit in the end. So I'm quite pleased with how it turned out. And it's a really lovely day dress. It's really comfy, really relaxed, works great just on its own in the spring, because it's kind of got like 3/4 length sleeves. Or in the winter with a pair of tights and a cardi. So yeah, I really like it. And it was a fairly straightforward sew. The only bit I found a little bit tricky was the way the neckline is done is instead of adding a facing or a neckband, you just turn under the fabric and sew. Now you do stay stitch to start with to stop the neckline stretching, but I still found mine stretched a little bit. And I think that might be because the jersey I used isn't as stable as something like a Ponte. So I think probably the neckline would be a bit more straightforward if you did use the fabric recommended by the pattern. But it didn't stretch too much. I really like it still. And I've already worn it a fair few times, and it was really nice to have a go of that pattern. But that was the first of my 9 new patterns for 2020, the Coco dress by Tilly and the Buttons, and I just made one of those. So the second pattern that was on my list of 9 patterns to make for 2020 was probably the most tricky one, and one that I kind of been putting off having a go of, and it's a jeans pattern. I've been wanting to make jeans for a while because I find it quite hard to get well-fitting ready-to-wear jeans. but I was a little bit put off by all the hardware you need and the fitting of it and everything. So I thought putting it on my Make 9 will really sort of force me to give it a go. So I got this pattern here, a classic jeans pattern, the Ginger Jeans by Closet Core Patterns. I wanted to make a pair of stretchy jeans and fairly skinny leg jeans. So it was a toss-up between the Ginger Jeans pattern and the Ash Jeans by Nielsen. But I decided on the Gingers mainly because they have a low-rise option. So if you look, there's two views. View A is a low-rise option with sort of straight legs, and view B is a higher waisted option with skinny legs. And I decided to make a combination of both, the low-rise with the skinny legs, for my version. So actually, the process of making jeans wasn't as bad as I thought it might be. Essentially, it's a lot of small steps, and if you just take it one step by the next step, they kind of come together gradually. So I use this denim here, these are my jeans. I use this denim here from Guthrie Ghani. It's an 11 ounce denim with a 2% stretch, and in hindsight I think if I made another pair I'd probably go for a slightly higher percentage of stretch, maybe a 3%, because they are quite, they're a little less soft and bendy than some of my ready-to-wear pairs, although I guess probably with more wear they will soften a little bit, but they are a little bit tight and less bendy with a 2% stretch. What to say about the jeans? Well, I've actually written a blog post all about my experience with the jeans, with lots of tips. So I definitely recommend you having a look at that, and I'll put a link down below if you would like to check out my blog post. I made a size 6 of the jeans, which is designed for a waist of 27 inches and hips of 36 inches. My waist is a 26, which is slightly smaller, but I thought if I went with my hips measurement and then I could adjust the waist as I go. And with the jeans process, I basically found it quite slow going because there's a lot of basting and unpicking to check the fit, and it's definitely worth doing the basting and unpicking, but it is a bit time consuming, and I did find it a little bit tedious at points, but definitely worth doing. And I found out from when I was basting it all together that I needed to make a sway back adjustment, because although the jeans fit okay around my hips, they were gaping a lot at the back of my waist. So I made that adjustment. And one thing to mention with the Ginger Jeans is there's so much information online on the Closet Core website. There's kind of like a sew-along with lots of photos, and they also have a special section dedicated to fit issues. So if you are finding there's a fit issue somewhere, they'll show you how you can rectify it and how you can adjust the pattern pieces. So there's loads of information to hold your hands through the process. What else to mention about jeans? There was obviously a lot of top stitching. I chose a mustard top stitching thread, and I really enjoyed the top stitching, and that's one of my favourite bits of the jeans process. So while I've been talking, I've put up some pictures of me wearing my jeans so you can see how they look and how they fit. And I'm really pleased with them, but I must admit it wasn't my most enjoyable sew, and I'm not sure I'll be in a rush to make another pair. But if I do make another pair, I will go for a slightly higher lycra content. That'll be my main takeaway from this pair of jeans. But yeah, I definitely recommend the Closet Core website. They do have a lot of information if you are fancying giving them a go. So that's my second make for 2020, the Ginger Jeans by Closet Core Patterns. My make number 3 is one of my favourite new sort of loungewear relaxed clothes discoveries for this year, and it's this pattern here, which you'll have heard me talking about before. It's the Jarrah sweatshirt by Nielsen Patterns. So I'll show you my versions here and put some pictures up. The Jarrah pattern's a really relaxed sweatshirt pattern, and what's amazing about it is all the different options. You can make it with a funnel neck. It's got drop shoulders and all of the options, and then you can make it with a funnel neck or a sort of split drop level hem, or a tie at the front, or a standard bottom band. So it's really flexible, comes together really well. It's a bit oversized, it's very relaxed. I really like it. But I'll show you my versions, but I have talked in more detail about the Jarrah sweatshirt in another vlog, which is my 5 favourite sweatshirt patterns vlog. So if you want to hear in a bit more depth about the Jarrah and the sizing, I'd recommend you watch that vlog, because I talk in more detail about it there. But I'll show you my versions that I made this year, because I love that pattern, and once I made one version I couldn't stop at one. I do wear a lot of jumpers and relaxed clothes with my children, so it's a perfect pattern for me. So the first version I wore, and this was for a blog post on the Makers Merchant website, and I'll put a link down to that post below. It's this one here. It's made in this really cool reverse French terry, so you can kind of see the texture of the, oh, it's hard to see, the loop back texture is kind of on the outside. And I made this version with a tie, so you can see the tie at the bottom there. And I'll put a picture up of me wearing it, and the one thing I did with this version is I added a facing to the back of the tie, because the fabric inside is white, I thought it would be really obvious when you tie the tie. There'll be white bits poking out, and the fabric was lightweight enough because it's a French terry and it's not too thick to be able to add a facing without the tie being too bulky. So that was my first version, and it's fairly cropped, so it comes up fairly high, but I quite like that for the tie waist. I made one more tie waist version after that, and this time I made it in this lovely See You at 6 loop back jersey. It's super soft. This was from Liberated fabrics, and I made a tie version again, as I said. This time I didn't bother adding a facing because the back's green too. It's lovely, and I had a lot of fun on this version because it was the first time I had a real good go of my twin needle. So you can see I've twin needled round the tie and round the neckline, and actually the twin needle worked a lot better than I expected, so I was really pleased with that, and I've used it quite a lot since because I think it gives a lovely finish on garments. And then I made two more versions with a kind of classic sweatshirt style bottom band. This version is lovely fleece-backed rust coloured jersey. It's super snuggly. This was from the Fabric Godmother, and I love this one. It's just so cosy for winter. And I've just realised I've left my other one upstairs, so I'll go and get it. I've just grabbed my final version, and here it is. This is a quite a fun print, and it's a cropped version. As you can see, it doesn't come down too long. And I made this as part of a loungewear set, and I'll put up a picture of that one too, with black cuffs for added detail and sort of tying with the joggers. If you're interested, the pants, or the kind of joggers pattern that goes with this version of the Jarrah, is the True Bias Hudson pants. It's a great joggers pattern, so that's that. But yeah, this is a cropped version. I just adjusted slightly because I didn't have much fabric left. So that's that version. So yeah, the Jarrah is a great pattern. It's really comfy, really relaxed, sews up really well, so I definitely recommend that one. But I'll put a link up above to my 5 favourite sweatshirt patterns if you'd like to hear a little bit more about that one and my other favourite sweatshirt patterns. But that was my make number 3 for 2020. So the next pattern that was on my Make 9 2020 list was another slightly more challenging make, and the reason I got this pattern was because I had a ready to wear item, a garment that I wanted to replicate, and I found this pattern and thought, yes, that'll work perfectly. And it's this pattern here. It's the Fiona sundress by Closet Core Patterns, my second Closet Core pattern, and that was on my list. So yeah, it's a sundress with straps, and it's got a princess seam bodice and these feature pockets, and you can make it in 2 lengths, kind of like a mini length or a slightly longer length with splits at the side. And I'll show you the lovely interesting back details too. You can either do kind of like a standard back with straps, or this lovely sort of scoop down crossover back. So some really nice options. So it's quite a structured sundress, but I actually wanted to make it as a winter pinafore, because I have this lovely ready-to-wear pinafore I got a couple of years ago that I've got so much wear out of, and I'll pop a picture up of it. It's made in like a black stretch denim, and I've worn it lots. And so when I saw this pattern, I thought, perfect, I can replicate it to make sure I have another version in case the first version ever wears out. So I'll show you my version. This is my version, which I made in this lovely kind of mid-blue denim from Fabric Godmother. And it has a bit of stretching, so it makes a dress fairly comfy and not too restrictive. So I kind of use these cool sort of silver jeans type buttons for the button down front. I made the feature pockets, and then I made for the back, the standard back like this, just because I wanted to keep it quite simple, and I thought this would work better for a winter pinafore dress, which I'm planning to layer with tops and things. So I decided to make a toile for this pattern before cutting into my denim. I don't usually make toiles for garments I sew, but I thought because this was quite fitted and I wanted to get the fit just right, it would be worth doing. So I got from Minerva some calico fabric that was a similar weight to this denim, and I used that to whip up a toile. And I did need to make a few adjustments, so I'm glad I did make the toile. I made a version, I think I graded this one, that's right. My sizes fell across 3 sizes of this one, and I wanted to get the fit just right, so I graded from a size 2 bust to a size 4 waist to a size 6 hips, which fit me because my measurements are 32, 26, 36, and that fit across the sizes. And then I made the toile, and I did find it needed a few adjustments, and the main adjustment I needed to make was at the back. Because I have a sway back, I had to, there are darts on the skirt, I had to increase the darts, the width of the darts, and then I had to adjust the bodice pattern piece accordingly to match that, just to bring it in at the back. And it was really worth doing because it made a big difference to the fit. And I also tweaked the princess seams at the front just slightly to get the right fit around my bust. but I think that's the nice thing about princess seams, is they're quite easy to just adjust the curve slightly. So that worked really well. So once I made the toile, I was confident to cut into this fabric. And yeah, it was a really enjoyable sew actually. It came together really nicely. It's got some really nice details. So you can see the kind of, it's got almost like a facing on the inside around the top, which makes a really neat finish. And it's got loads of pattern pieces because there are so many different bits, the bodice and the straps, all the different pockets. The pockets have got some lovely top stitching details too. So I'm really pleased with it, and I'll put up some pictures of me wearing it so you can see what it looks like. So yeah, it turned out just as I wanted, and I'm really pleased to have been able to replicate an item from my ready-to-wear wardrobe. So that's my make number 4 for this year of new patterns, the Fiona sundress by Closet Core Patterns. Pattern number 5 on my Make 9 2020 was another pattern I bought to try and replicate a ready-to-wear garment that I have. And this time I wanted to replicate a pair of ready-to-wear shorts that I have that were getting really old and pretty much starting to fall apart. And they were basically a pair of low-rise ready-to-wear shorts with a fairly relaxed, loose fit. And I've noticed in the last year or so, a lot of the indie patterns for shorts have been high-waisted, and I do love high-waisted shorts. But when I'm on holiday and it's hot and I want to get down on the sand with the children, I find high-waisted can get a bit, they can dig in or they can be a little bit too hot. So I wanted to replicate these really old ready-to-wear shorts that had a very relaxed low rise. And somebody on Instagram recommended to me this pattern here, the Alina Design Co chinos, which is basically a shorts and skirt pattern with a fairly low rise, and then it comes with a fly front zipper and slash pockets. And so I thought that would be perfect, and I give that a go. The cool thing about this pattern as well is you can also purchase expansion packs. It's a really flexible pattern. These are the expansion packs you can purchase. Number 1, to make them into sort of longer shorts that are fairly fitted. And then number 2, to turn them into a pair of trousers with a turn up or not. So there's quite a lot of options, and there's loads of information in this pattern too. So it was my first time making an Alina Design Co pattern, but I really rated the instructions. I thought they were really good. Also in here they have you can see different pocket options at the back of the shorts or skirt, which I liked, and there's also a list of different variations you can make just for inspiration. Let me find it. Just so you can make your pair of shorts or skirt your own. So it says things like you can kind of finish the seams with bias tape or do fancy top stitching. There's loads of different options there for different things to do. So I wanted to make the shorts, and again for this pattern, like with the Fiona sundress, I decided to make a toile just because I hadn't made shorts before and I wanted to make sure I got the fit right. This time I decided to make a wearable toile on the basis that if it came out okay, I'd be able to use them as another pair of shorts. So I'll show you my wearable toile. So this is my wearable toile, which came out pretty wearable. I made them in a linen look cotton from Minerva in this kind of peachy colour. I made them with just kind of plain pockets in the back. They're a little bit creased because they've been in my summer suitcase and I got them out especially for this video. It's got slash pockets, the fly front zipper, and they're just really relaxed. I'll put some pictures up of me wearing them, and they came out really well. I did hone the fit slightly for my second pair, but this pair still fit really well and they've been really comfy and I've got lots of wear out of them. I made the size 6, I believe. Yeah, I made the size 6. Where are the sizing? Yep, I made the size 6, which is waist 27, hips 37. I think I opted for a slightly larger size and I could adjust down a little bit. I did have to adjust down a little bit, and I also had to make a sway back adjustment on these too. But the great thing about this pattern is you sew the centre back seam as one of the last things you sew. So if you do need to adjust the waist slightly and bring it in, or take it out slightly, you can do that at quite a late stage, which makes it really quite straightforward for fitting. So that was my first pair, and then after that I went for my real proper pair in this lovely linen from Guthrie Garney. It's really nice linen, really nice and substantial, perfect for shorts. Oh, and I forgot to mention, for both my versions I did little turn-ups because my ready-to-wear pair of shorts had turn-ups, so I wanted to kind of make something similar. So I did turn-ups on both my pairs. I'll put up a pair of the navy ones too, but I'm just really pleased with them, and now I know if they'll wear out I can reproduce them over and over again using that pattern. So that's the Cheetown chinos, a shorts and skirt pattern by Alina Design Company. Oh, and one more thing I wanted to mention on this pattern. I just wanted to show you the pretty insides of the shorts. There's some real nice potential to add in pretty pocket bags, and also I've seen some lovely versions where the the seams are bias bound with a pretty fabric like that too. And I didn't actually use a pretty fabric for the inside of this pair because they're a little bit more sheer. So I thought that any sort of pattern fabric might show through a little bit on these. But I enjoyed that little pop of colour inside my navy ones, using some scraps of fabric from a previous make. So the next pattern on my Make 9 2020 list was another summery one. And it's a bikini, this bikini here. The Vernazza 2-piece bikini by Friday Pattern Company, and it's got some lovely details. It's got a tie-fronted bikini top and then a fairly high-waisted bikini bottoms. There are the line drawings, so you can see the back and front of the top and the back and front of the bottoms. When I started sewing, I never expected I'd sew swimwear. But before the lockdown, I did go swimming quite a bit, both with my children and just on my own for exercise. And so I did use quite a lot of swimwear. So I thought I'd give it a go last year, and I made the Nielsen bikini, and I'll pop a picture up of that bikini pattern so you can see what it looks like. And I really enjoyed sewing it, and it wasn't as tricky as I expected, so I thought I'd give this pattern a go this year, as I love the features. And it was actually a really enjoyable sew. The pattern instructions are great, and I found it came together really well. I made the nice thing about it, bikini top and bottom, is you don't need to grey between the sizes, so you can just choose the size that fits for each one. So I made the extra small for the bust, which is 32 to 33 inches, and the small for the bottoms, which is hips 35 to 36 inches. And the sizing came out just right, it worked really well. So I made two versions. I first of all made a wearable toile because I had some scraps left over from my cottesloe bikini. So I made this version here. It's fully lined with this navy swimmer fabric, so that's my bottoms. And then top, it's kind of hard to show, but this is it, and it's got the ties at the front. And I'll put up a picture of me wearing it because you can see better how it looks there. And the reason why I made a toile of this one was because the fabric I wanted to sew the actual version in was very expensive fabric, which I got for my birthday, and it's this lovely Liberty fabric, this Liberty swimwear fabric. So both of these are swimwear fabrics with polyamide and lycra content, I do believe, because I wanted to get something that would really last and stand up to the chlorine in the water. So yeah, the second version I made is this lovely Liberty swim fabric, this beautiful kind of slightly orangey yellow with these lovely flowers on it. And so they're the bikini bottoms. Again, I had enough of the fabric to line the bottoms, and I lined the tops too. And here's the top. Looks a bit funny here, but I'll put a picture up so you can see how it looks on when it's kind of stretched into place. But it was a really enjoyable sew and came together really well. And actually, I preferred the way the elastic is inserted on the Vernazza 2-piece to the cottesloe. I found it worked better for me because they have a slightly different approach. And there's also extra help available when making this. There's a video on YouTube which I found really useful that Friday Pattern Company have done talking about the elastic insertion, so I'll pop a link to that video below in case you're interested in making your own swimwear and want to check it out. So yes, I fully lined both the bikinis. I didn't add any power mesh or any padding, I just wanted to keep it fairly simple, and I'm really pleased with how they've turned out. And I haven't had much of a chance to wear them, what with the lockdown and swimming pools being closed for quite a lot of this year, but I did get them out on the beach on holiday, and I did really enjoy wearing them. And I've actually written a blog post talking about my experiences of sewing swimwear and comparing the cottesloe bikini to the Vernazza bikini. So if you'd like to check that out, I'll include a link below so you can have a look, and it's got a few tips that I sort of picked up about sewing with swimwear too in that blog post, so I'll pop that link below. But that was my 6th make for 2020, the Vernazza 2-piece bikini by Friday Pattern Company. My 7th garment on my Make 9 2020 list is one you might have heard me talk about before if you've seen my previous vlogs, and it's this one here, the Hinterland dress by Liberated. And I feel like I've been sewing this for longer, and I didn't just start it in 2020 because I've made several versions. I guess it's a bit like the Jarrah. I sewed it early in the year, loved it, and then went on to make several more versions. So yeah, it's a dress with, I'll show you lots of different variations. Essentially it's a dress with a gathered skirt, but you can make lots of different variations. Different button down plackets, different sleeve and sleeveless options, different lengths. It's got pockets too, what's not to love. But the Hinterland dress, So I published a vlog just recently where I talk in more detail about this pattern, as well as my other favourite woven dress patterns for autumn and winter. This is one of them, and I'll put a link up above if you'd like to check that out, and I go into more detail there about the sizing and the little details of the pattern. But for now, I'll show you the versions I did make this year. As I said, I couldn't just stop at one, but I'll get them now. So I've made 4 versions of the Hinterland dress to date, and I'll show you the dresses, and I'll also put a picture up while I'm talking about them with me wearing them, so you can see what it looks like on. So this is my first version, which I made. I made the short sleeve version and a kind of just above the knee length. I added the waist ties at the back for shaping. I've added the waist ties on every version of the Hinterland dress I've made actually, because I do like the shaping it adds. It's got darts on the side for a bit more shaping. It's made in this lovely cotton linen fabric, and I've got these little yellow buttons for a pop of colour. But it's sewed together really well. I got loads of wear out of this one and I really love it. So that's my first version. And I couldn't stop at one. The next version I made was another one in a kind of check fabric. And I made a sleeveless version this time with the intention to wear this as a pinafore for winter. The fabric's quite nice and cosy. It's a cotton fabric with this nice kind of check, and I added little navy buttons. And again, I made it a similar length just above the knee. But yeah, that's a kind of definitely a wintry version, and I'll pop a picture up of me wearing that with a layered look. So that's that version there. The next version I made is definitely a more of a summery one, and I made it in this lovely leopard mustard viscose. And I was really pleased with this one. I made it in with just 1.5 meters of fabric, so I was quite pleased I managed to fit it in. I even managed to have enough fabric for pockets, so that's great. This version I didn't add the placket at the front. I just cut the I've just cut the front pattern piece on the fold just to make a simple plain front. It's lovely and swishy and light and breezy for summer. And I made that one I think slightly longer, just for a bit of variation, so I could really feel the swish of the fabric. And then my most recent version is this one using ECAT fabric. I'll put down below where each of the fabrics came from. This ECAT fabric came from Etoquery. It's got a lovely geometric style pattern with white and a lighter blue colour. And this is a bit more subtle to see, but I made the button down placket front, again with a tie waist. And I always wanted to make a Hinterland in ECAT fabric because I've seen such nice versions. I really wanted to give that a go. So those are my 4 Hinterland dresses. I'm sure I'll make more in the future. It's such a great straightforward pattern. But as said, check out my 5 favourites vlog if you'd like even more detail on that one. My second to last pattern I wanted to make for my Make 9 2020 is actually not a sewing pattern, it's a knitting pattern. And the Make 9 hashtag is all about making, so it doesn't have to be sewing. And I really wanted to challenge myself this year and knit the first garment for myself, because I've never knitted anything for myself before. I've knitted quite a few dolls' clothes for my children, and also jumpers and cardigans for my son and daughter, but I never knitted anything for myself before. I think I was a bit more worried on the fit, because I feel the fit's a little bit more critical on an adult than it is on a child or a doll. So I decided to have a go of this cardigan here, and it's the Downtown cardigan by All About Amy. It's kind of an oversized cardigan knitted in chunky wool, and it's got it's quite a straight good cardigan for a beginner, because other than the ribbing at the bottom, all it is knitted in garter stitch, so it's very straightforward. And most of the pattern pieces are pretty square. There's a bit of shaping needed on the sleeves, but other than that it is very straightforward. And because it's in chunky wool, it knits up quite quickly too. So I thought it would be a good first project for me. It wouldn't be too frustrating and take about sort of 10 years, like it might do if I tried to knit a cardigan in a finer type of wool. So this is my version of the Downtown cardigan that I made this year. And I made it in this lovely blue. It's a chunky wool by Paintbox Yarns, and I guess it's somewhere between a sort of royal blue and a sort of midnight blue. I really like the colour. And I made it with a fairly simple cast off edge at the front. You can add a ribbing around the front, but I wanted to keep it really simple. And I made it in the smallest size of the pattern because I didn't want it too oversized. And it's really snuggly and super warm, so it'll be perfect for when winter gets really cold. And I'll put a picture up here of me wearing it so you can see what it looks like on. But yeah, it's a really straightforward knit. It was perfect for knitting in the lockdown on the sofa after a busy day with the children, or on a Zoom call with my friends. I could just knit away in the background. One other thing I wanted to mention actually is when I was making this version, I didn't increase the width of the sleeves as much the pattern says. So I made my sleeves slightly slimmer because I didn't want them to be too huge. So there's a couple of increases, and I think I only might have done one of them to make it slightly less of a balloon sleeve. But yeah, it's really super cozy, perfect for winter, and I really enjoyed it. And after knitting this, it gave me the confidence to go on to my second knitted cardigan project, which I'll be talking about in my November Makes video coming up in a couple of weeks. So that was my 8th pattern, the Downtown cardigan by All About Amy. So for the final pattern for my Make 9, when I was planning my Make 9 2020 at the beginning of the year, I decided to leave one space free with a question mark on it, and that was designed to be left for a 2020 pattern release, because I knew that there were always new patterns being released and I was sure something would take my fancy, so I thought I'd leave it flexible for a little bit of fun. And the pattern that ended up filling that question mark space is this one here. It's a Plum dress by Cocowawa Crafts. I think it was released in the spring or the summer, and it's kind of like a baby doll dress with a fairly high waist that's gathered. And then you can make a long sleeve option, or what really appealed to me is this really pretty flutter sleeve detail, and it has a button down back bodice. So I thought it was a lovely pattern, and as soon as I saw it I wanted to give it a go. And I made this version here. It's a summery dress, and I made it in this blue double gauze fabric, and of course I made the flutter sleeves. And yeah, I really love this make. It is quite oversized, so I added waist ties on to bring it in slightly, but it's got some lovely details. This is the back bodice, and I added these pink buttons for a pop of colour. And it's got a bias bound neckline, which I really love. And I used some leftover fabric from another make to add a bit of a feature bias binding. And then I used the same fabric for in the pockets. So that there. So I really love all the little details of this dress. And I felt like I spent time on the finish, and I'm quite pleased with how it turned out. I'll pop up a picture of it so you can see how it looks on. I made the smallest size because it is so oversized. I knew that would just fit fine. So the smallest size had bust 31, waist 23, hips 31, which is quite a lot smaller than me, but the finished measurements for that size were 38 inches bust, 38 inches waist, and hips 50, so there's plenty of movement. It is designed to be, yeah, oversized quite a lot. What to mention about this one? Yeah, it just was a lovely make, really summery, and I'd love to make a version in maybe a drapier fabric too, because I think that would look really nice too, but it was just a fun one for the summer. So that was my final make for my Make 9 2020, the Plum dress by Cocowawa Crafts. So I hope you enjoyed hearing about my Make 9 2020 garments that I sewed. I think there was a nice variety to what I chose this year, with jeans and shorts and a bikini and a knitting project. Yeah, and I really enjoyed sewing each of those garments, and it did encourage me to try out some things I might not have done without having put them on my list and wanting to tick them off. I haven't had a think yet about what I might put on my Make 9 for 2021, but once I have done, I'll probably pop together a vlog to share with you my plans. That'll be nearer towards the end of the year. My next vlog I think will probably be my November Makes vlog, talking all about what I've been making in November, so please do tune in for that. If you've enjoyed the vlog, I would love it if you'd like it, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, then please do subscribe too. And if you click the bell icon too, then you'll receive notifications of my future vlogs. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.